Hey everybody, it's your pal Drew Dracy, longtime comic book industry veteran for DC, Marvel, Dark Horse, CrossGen, IDW, Image. I even did a little Golden Book, that was kind of fun. Uh, so, Doctor Strange. Let me tell you, it didn't last long, and there's a variety of reasons, and I think I know why. Uh, well, part of it is he's not a full blown superhero, so you could think he's just some generic magician character, and there were a lot of those kind of characters in comics for many, many years. Um, and I think what hurt it is this is the first issue, and it's okay. It's just very tame. It doesn't pow hit you in the face, and the design is interesting, and the how can I put it? Well, most of the Marvel stuff that sold was really action paced. It was heroes with problems, and Doctor Strange had no personal problems, and so he was hard to relate in that sense. But before we get to that, um, Doctor Strange shared a book with Nick Fury, where one had like 12 pages out of the story, the other one had 10 pages out of it, a total of 22 pages. And then when I don't know, 68, I think it was, when they were finally able to expand through distribution. Long story. They took the split books and made them their own books. They had Iron Man, Captain America. Captain America, they kept Kirby for a while. That was a great transition there. With Iron Man, Gene Colan, who had been doing the strip, he did the first issue, and then went over to George Tuska, who he liked to do it. He liked the slugfest type energy of Kirby, so that kept that book going. And with Tales to Astonish, the Hulk, it was really getting good, really getting solid. Marie Severin had started it from. She came from the Tales to Astonish, issue 100, and then went on and did the book for another year or so. Then Herb Trimpe followed her footsteps, and consistency. That was it, consistency. And then Prince Namor, the Submariner, who I'll admit he's just not my favorite character. He is cool, but he did well because John Buscema did the early issues, like the first year or so, and it's just like it was when he was in that real big Baroque type era where before Stan asked him to do 6-panel grids. So you had a strong, and Marie took over that too, and she did a fantastic job. And the book just went on, and it had a consistency to it. Here's the thing: people loved Ditko's Doctor Strange, and more so than Spider-Man, Doctor Strange suffered greatly after Ditko left because it was so him. It was like his id, or he just had a lot of himself put into it. And I don't mean personality. I don't mean like heroes with problems type stuff. It's just that his stuff was just amazing. And also, just to get this aside, I love Stan, I love Jack, I love Steve, I love Don, everybody. Here's the thing, though. What's interesting is the very first appearance, which came out in issue 110 of Strange Tales of Doctor Strange. There was in the letter column, which I reread recently, in the gigantic Taschen Spider-Man reprinting, like Amazing Fantasy 15 all the way to Spider-Man 21. There was a blurb that says, we have this new character, Doctor Strange. What is he about? He goes, well, we'll find out, because he said, we'll find out together. Twas, what was it? Twas Steve's idea. And so he basically admitted that he didn't really do anything with Doctor Strange, just to provide the dialogue and such. And when he did decide to do some editing on the other book, the full book that Ditko is doing on Doctor Strange, Ditko left. He was very resolute in his beliefs of how to be a creator, how to own what you do, even own the stories, I guess is what it is. It's like he didn't go. It wasn't until much later that he would self-publish stuff that he actually owned. So, and Nick Fury was a mess for a while. Kirby started off strong, did a lot of layouts, and a lot of different artists came and went over the layouts because it was just a horrible combination in a lot of these. The worst being Ogden Whitney, and I hate to say that, but those two issues are a real mess because he was the guy who came up with Herbie Popnecker, who was also the Fat Fury. It was about a heavy-set kid, and his parents kept calling him a fat little nothing. I was like, geez, that's pretty cruel, even for like the 60s. But it turned out secretly that Herbie was the Fat Fury, and the Fat Fury was, with his magic lollipops, he could do anything. He would have world leaders at his knees. He would take care of the biggest villains because he had a different powerful lollipop for each occasion. And I mean, he was like the Beyonder, maybe even more so. And then at the end of each adventure, he'd go sitting in it, or whatever at home, and it'd be like, oh, he's just a fat little nothing. I don't know, whatever. He looks like he's been sitting on his ass all day. So that was okay. I'm getting off base again. Strange Tales finally hit Nick Fury. Started with a ton of different Kirby finishers, and then this young guy named Jim Steranko came along in, I think, issue 150. He worked off of the layouts, and he really got it. He really understood what was going on. He just took to it, and because not everything matches up. So there you go. So you got the Kirby, esque bodies there. You got that's just amazing. And here's a weird thing, though. Okay, you had Cap and Iron Man onto their own books. That did well. Hulk and Submariner had their own books, and they thrived. But this book was always a very modest seller, but not bad enough that they would cancel it, replace it with something else. And part of it, these combined books, was you got truncated stories that were top notch. You didn't get like, what do they call that? Oh, decompressed stuff. You always got your money's worth, and it was solid. They were also, it would have been canceled. But this whole book here is post Ditko, and you have Marie Severin and you have Bill Everett actually come on board, and it seems like they can't find their way. They're trying, but Ditko just had this certain different quality than most people. That's a great cover by Marie Severin. I love that. That's my very first back issue of Strange Tales. She's got some of the inking done downright, like on the mindless ones, which are always fun. A lot of stuff going on there. And Zom. And then the villains got really dumb, like introducing Zom, just some hairy guy with bracelets or something. And you guys see that's what's going on there. The end of the that's just a real weird character that makes no sense. And then the Living Tribunal actually was a pretty cool character that Roy and Marie Severin came on and did. But the story itself was, that cover is not a Marvel cover. I mean, it is a Marvel cover. It's just not exciting at all. It's there. And that was their appeal, is make everything pop. I mean, Gene Colan made Daredevil pop. All kinds of stuff. Herb Trimpe will eventually take over the Hulk book when it becomes solo. And he will, after inking Marie Severin for about a year. So everyone's scrambling to keep this Doctor Strange going. They love the character. And there's the Stranko cover. And here's the thing, though. Dan Atkins took over, and he's a fantastic anchor, and he assisted Wally Wood for a long time, but he followed Wally Wood's rules of comics a little too close. The one was never draw anything you can't, never draw anything you can't swipe, never do something you can't use a photograph. It was just all these different things, and this book was loaded with swipes from Ditko. And it did make it more interesting because you had all these established figures already. Doo-da, doo-da, doo-da. Now that's a cool looking character there. But it's so... It looks like a throwback. It doesn't look like a Marvel comic. Jim Lawrence is writing this. Don't know who he is. Oh, they have his credit at the end, but it wasn't that big deal. And Nightmare. And it just sits there. It is great, but it does not look like a Marvel comic. It doesn't even look like a DC comic. So a DC comic would be much tighter. It'd be better edited. It'd be, it would have a consistency. So, but as a pencil, Dan Adkins was solid. He was just he was there. And, man, it's a beautiful cover. Her eyes always look wonky, though. That drives me nuts. More of this. Love that. And there, it's like he's getting up. He's staying there. This thing should be in the foreground attacking Strange, or in the back attacking Doctor Strange. So Adkins' stuff is, he can draw. It's just his stuff is so polite. And that's if you see an interesting pose, it's usually a Ditko swipe. And he's getting a little better with this stuff. And here are the coming of Doctor Strange. Okay, well, all the split books, they became all of a sudden from 3 books to 6 books. And the art got thinned out, too. So, a lot of this stuff is interesting, and a lot of it isn't. And I struggled, and I've read a lot of shitty books in my time. I think because maybe it's my age, being middle age, I'm kind of like, do I have to read this whole thing? And I do read most of everything, but sometimes it's just like here's the second page to your brand new Doctor Strange book. It's just there. It's just there. And they go over his origin again. A lot of these early books do that. Like Submariner #1 did the same thing, by the mighty John Buscema. And I love that brown. You know me, I'm on big on brown covers. That's okay. I mean, I don't know. It's all right, but there's no sense of movement. It's like they're posing. And I've seen a lot of artists who, take their own photographs, and some can do really good work with it, and some of them are just painstakingly tracing images. He looks like he's a safe distance away, and it's very odd. This ended up in a Marvel Treasure Edition because they were showcasing a lot of different artists. Wow, is that weird? That is weird with the lips there. And so, you see it. Everything's just kind of... That's really cool. I do like that. I'll tell you when I like something. You know me. So, Doctor Strange 171. That's a nice cover there. And Tom Palmer is the artist. One of the greatest anchors in the world. He is the artist of this issue. And, again, the stories are just kind of stodgy. There's nothing that really craves that you turn the next page. Not craving the page. There's a swipe there, but that's okay. Palmer was pretty new too. There we go. This became a black light poster in the early 70s, and it's nifty, but it's not something comics. Even 12 cents was a lot of money back then. It sounds so stupid now, but and when comics turned to 15 cents, a lot of people stopped buying comics, which is crazy. So here you go. Months and months later. Stan Lee finally has a good co-creator in the name of Gene Colan, by the name of Gene Colan. And even though not that much is going on, at least you have a feast for the eyes. Strange Males. That is so... That looks like a publisher that lasted like 6 months in 1966 during that comic explosion after the Batman show. Now my cousin Sean, he loves this cover. I do in a way, in a real quiche way, like a real, kind of fun, silly way, But And most of the superheroes, even Jim Steranko's, they all had physical. They all had physical battles. Like they had big punch 'em ups. And they had problems, personal problems that everybody liked and the college kids really embraced. Doctor Strange had none. He had Clea, his lover slash apprentice, and he had no real problems going on to relate to, and everything was more like gesturing. And but the book got so good, like towards the end, but it was just like when Neil Adams and Roy Thomas did X-Men. It was a little too late, which really sucked. Because the book was getting better, but there's the Sons of Stanish. More good art. Love that. Oh, grave, where is thy victory? Let me go back a second. I want to go back to this. You want to see something that's really nuts? Okay. To my knowledge, working on it. What issue is this? Oh, okay. Hang in there, everybody. Oops, he got to cross over to the Avengers. So he was trying everything. Okay, but let's jump ahead to issue 179. Why? Because... hang on, everybody. Almost done. Wait. Oh, come on. A reprint issue. To my knowledge, it's the very first ongoing comic book that would have a reprint issue. And that became really a big deal when Kirby left. And Barry Windsor Smith did it, aka Barry Smith, and that was not a good sign. No. And it's a shame because also he was fighting robots too. There was an issue where he fought a robot, and it's just like you just don't understand Doctor Strange one iota. There we go, Voltar. Like right there, that kills the character, and that had a lot to do, I think, with people walking away from it. In my opinion, I just, I absorb all this stuff as much as I can. I enjoy it, but there's some stuff that I just can't excuse. He's clearly the writer. I can't remember who it is. I am going back to it. Love those layouts of when it's a fancy. Like this page here is great, but it's. That Colin did it like 5 minutes. But he would save the money shots for like the most important era. Eternity, he helped Eternity. Eternity decided to help him out by making him a costumed character, different gloves, no, what do you call those things? No kilt. And his name would now be Dr. Sanders in real life. And so there would be no identity problems. There's a nice cover there, Black Knight. But Roy admitted that he made Doctor Strange to a superhero as a last-ditch effort to save the book. That's beautiful. Buscema stuff. Some say nice. So you got a crossover, and you got that friggin'. That's just death right there. It's just death. And there's Eternity. And there's a little poster. I think that's something that Colin kind of came up with to familiarize himself. And it's 181, 182 with Juggernaut, who's from the X-Men, and who's apparently been on Slim Fast or something. It's the skinniest Juggernaut you'll find. And okay, so it's just that's what here was the final issue. Led into Submariner. Roy was trying to get something going, but nobody was accepting Submariner at the time. And then when he came back, people really missed him. And the creative teams changed a lot, but this was just so inconsistent. It was one of those books that post Ditko. Maybe they should have put into mothballs for a while, but they didn't. So that's it, everybody. Talk to you later.